What's up? What's up? I want to welcome you today to another edition of the What's Up Show. And today we're going to look at the American society and the world society on public officials and government officials and people who are famous, high celebrity. We're going to be talking about them cursing too much, using the F bomb and the N word and the S word. I mean, saying fuck and shit and nigga and all kind of stuff. It's just absolutely horrible what our society has turned into. And I noticed this since the 1990s. The FCC used to regulate this, and people that were cursed, they were fined or thrown off the air or they lost their job. But now everybody's saying the F bomb, the president's talking about people living in shithole countries. And I just saw the Danish official today, telling Trump to fuck off because Trump is trying to acquire Greenland, and he said, "Fuck, President Trump, I have a message that you'll understand. Fuck off." And then the Danish Parliament, correct them, said, "We don't say that in the Danish Parliament." But it's just all over the place, and we're going to be talking about that. So today I have Kevin Samuels, the upbeat Kevin Samuels, and we got him on here from Chat GTP 5.2. And Kevin, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, this is your virtual Kevin Samuels, here to bring clarity without the curse words. We're diving into why respect, discipline, and leadership mean more than just letting it fly. Let's keep it sharp.
And you know what? I got a screen up there right now, Kevin, a whole bunch of expletives and stuff and quotation boxes and stuff. And you know, I'm in the military. So I'm retired out of the military. I've been 30 years in the military, and we teach discipline and we teach respect. And one thing that we don't do in public or in front of our superiors is use foul, profane language. And the world needs to take and follow that. You know, we got churches, clergymen, we got people with high moral um, backgrounds. You got children growing up, you got people that are real sensitive to words. And we cannot have our public officials cursing and swearing on public network. Is that true, Kevin?
Absolutely, Billy Boy. Leadership should elevate, not degrade. It's about setting a standard, because when we speak with care, we lead by example.
And we got people going to ATM machines or whatever, or going to Popeye's chicken or a fast food place, and they sitting there just cursing people out and just beating them up. What's wrong with our society, Kevin?
Oh well, Billy Boy, it's a cultural slickstream, where shock value gets attention. But we've got to remind folks that true strength is in composure. We uplift society by modeling restraint and respect.
And we got our public officials, especially the president of the United States. Okay, we can't have him sitting there telling people to go back to their shithole countries, or he was it 2 or 3 days ago he gave somebody the bird finger and told him to fuck off. What kind of deal is that? Was that true, Kevin?
Well, it's true that some recent public figures have let their words and gestures slip. And the headlines don't lie. But the real deal is we can demand better by holding leaders to a higher standard of behavior.
And I remember President Biden going to an all-black church and he slipped up and said the word nigger. He said nigger in the all-black Baptist
It's
church. Go ahead.
that memory might be a mix-up or a misinterpretation, as I'm not aware of such a direct incident. But the broader point stands. Public figures must be deliberate, especially when addressing sensitive topics or diverse communities. Words carry weight, and respect is non-negotiable.
Okay, what incidents was it when public officials used the N-word?
Historically, some officials have had controversies with racial slurs, like former Senator Robert Byrd, who apologized for past usage, or others caught on leaked audio. The bottom line, when it happens, it's a harsh reminder that leaders must be held accountable to foster a culture of respect and inclusion.
Well, I agree. So the big question is, you know, freedom of speech is a cornerstone of American democracy, but freedom does not equal immunity from responsibility. When public officials, celebrities, and cultural leaders use profanity, crude gestures, derogatory or demeaning language, they aren't just talking to adults. They're talking to children, they're talking to families, faith leaders, immigrants, elders, and the global audience is watching America because America, we're supposed to be setting the standard here. Leadership isn't only about saying what you can say, it's about choosing what you should say. Go ahead and comment on that, Kevin.
You're spot on, Billy Boy. Leadership isn't just about having a voice, it's about using it wisely. Every word from public figures shapes the culture. If they choose words that uplift rather than tear down, we all benefit, and our children learn what leadership truly means.
Well, I noticed, like I said, back in the 1990s, I noticed that when people were slipping up and saying all these curse words and stuff on public media, uh, they start thinking this was normal. So the normalization of profanity in public disclosure has accelerated since late teen 1990s. It has expanded on cable news, social media, and viral clips. I remember when we started getting cable TV and cable stuff, that's where the curse words were coming in because they weren't really regulated that much by FCC. So you could say all kind of nasty and bad stuff on cable. It shifted from shock moments to routine language. What once ended careers now wins applause, clicks, and votes. So everybody wants to take and click on that to see that person say F you and stuff. What's wrong with America, Kevin?
What's happened, Billy Boy, is that outrage has become a currency. But here's the deal: shock fades while integrity endures. If we want a better culture, we uplift leaders who can be compelling without being crude. The responsibility is ours to reward substance over shock.
Well, there was 10 public officials who have used profanity or derogatory language in public. So we're going to show you these examples, and they're cited for discussion accountability, not character assassination. So, Kevin, read the first person who used derogatory language in public.
First up, we have Donald Trump, who infamously used vulgar language to describe certain countries in a private policy meeting that became public. It's a prime example of the impact words can have, both at home and globally.
Does your program allow you to say some of the words that Trump used in public?
I can reference that he used the term shithole countries in meeting, though we don't need to glorify it. The key is acknowledging that such language impacts public discourse and accountability.
When he called countries shitholes, I practically fell out of my chair. And I was a public school teacher, and I wanted to play President Trump on TV in front of my whole class. But when he went off and started saying shithole, and this is being broadcast all over the whole world and through my classroom, I was really embarrassed. What do you think about that, Kevin?
I can see how that would be deeply uncomfortable. Classrooms should be places where we model respect. When leaders slip, it's on us to guide the conversation back to dignity, turning even those moments into teachable ones.
So when my kids were talking about how other people's houses look like shitholes, when I tried to discipline them, they said, well, the president said it. So what's wrong with that? What do you say about that, Kevin?
Well, Billy Boy, that's exactly why leadership matters. Kids emulate what they see. You've got the right approach, explaining that we hold ourselves to a higher standard, no matter who slips up. It's a chance to teach them that integrity means doing better, even when others don't.
I even heard a little baby over there going, shit, shit. I go, what are you trying to say, baby? And the baby was trying to say shithole because he learned it off the TV set. I was so embarrassed I started crying.
It's tough when even the youngest pick up on things like that. But your emotional response shows how much you care. That's where we flip it, turning the moment into one of teaching kindness, respect, and the power of better words.
Hey, read number 2, the second person who said profanity in public.
Next, Joe Biden. He's been caught on hot mics a few times using profanity toward colleagues or reporters. Even when unintended, it reminds us that words carry weight, especially from those in high office.
He was responsible for saying the N-word a whole lot in his speeches. I mean, he had problems talking, but in his subconscious, the N-word came up a couple of times, and they've got like about 5 or 6 instances where he used the N-word in front of black people. And I'm just really embarrassed on what he said. What do you say?
There's no room for racial slurs from anyone, let alone public figures. While Biden's historical controversies stemmed from quoting or referencing problematic language in past decades, it's still a reminder that all leaders must be mindful of their words. Accountability means learning and doing better.
Okay, so this next person really did a lot of cursing. They even's got a library that's got recordings of what he said, and it's really cruel. Read the third person who used provocative and profanity in public arenas.
That would be Lyndon B. Johnson. He was known for crude language behind closed doors, and recordings have since made that public. Even past presidents remind us that leadership is about more than power. It's about character.
Yeah, he is really rude and crude. I think he's an old Texan or something like that. He had that old Texas dialect, and he would be calling people the N words and all kind of stuff. I mean, this guy was really diabolical. I think he hated Kennedy too. What do you think?
LBJ was undeniably a complex figure, powerful but rough around the edges. While historians debate his motives, one thing is clear: no matter what era, leaders should inspire, not denigrate. It's on us to ensure future leaders raise the bar.
And then, I had some heroes like Jesse Ventura and stuff. I think he was a wrestler or something like that. And I really enjoyed him until he even said some racially words, using N words. I think his daughter was dating a black person or something, and he called uh the black person a monkey, or his daughter could do better or something like that. Was that Jesse Ventura?
Jesse Ventura, while known for his bluntness, didn't have a widely documented incident like that. Sometimes stories spread or get conflated. Regardless, what matters is that anyone in public life should treat all people with dignity, avoiding slurs and setting a standard for decency.
So what did Jesse Ventura, when did he use profanity in the public arena?
Jesse Ventura, as governor of Minnesota, was known for using colorful, sometimes profane language in interviews and speeches. He often emphasized his authenticity by rejecting political correctness. But even then, it sparked debates on whether public officials should temper their tone.
Okay, then there was number 5. Go ahead and read number 5. Who's the fifth person that used profanity?
Number 5 is Rod Blagojevich, the former Illinois governor. Wiretaps revealed him using explicit and vulgar language, while allegedly trying to profit from Barack Obama's vacated Senate seat. His case is a stark reminder that profanity often pairs with scandal.
Yeah, I don't think he liked Obama very much. Is that right?
Blagojevich's actions were less about personal dislike and more about corruption. He was caught trying to leverage a Senate seat for personal gain, and his profane language reflected the brazen nature of his schemes.
Read number 6.
Number 6 is Boris Johnson, former UK Prime Minister. While not American, his crude and inflammatory remarks strained diplomatic norms. His example shows that leadership language matters worldwide.
Number 7.
Number 7 is Marion Barry, former mayor of Washington, D.C. He frequently used profanity during tense public confrontations. Despite his local popularity, his language didn't always reflect the dignity people expect from leadership.
Number 8.
Number 8 is Rahm Emanuel, former mayor of Chicago. He was famous for his aggressive, profanity-laced language, often behind closed doors. When these words surfaced, it fueled debates on whether leadership toughness requires that tone.
So all people of power, no matter what race they are, ethnic group they are, slipped up and used profane and derogatory language in public. Read number 9.
Number 9 is Sarah Palin, former governor of Alaska. She was known for using inflammatory rhetoric and sometimes derogatory phrasing. Though she had a loyal base, her words often blurred lines of professionalism.
So now we got females that's cursing, females that are celebrities or public officials. And now we got a Latina that's in Congress cursing and stuff. Read number 10, who that was.
Number 10 is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a U.S. Congresswoman. She's defended strategic profanity at times, framing it as authenticity. Even so, it sparks discussion on whether passion and professionalism can coexist without profanity.
Now, we talked about public officials. Let's talk about celebrities. Celebrities aren't elected, but they are amplified. You know, they go all around the world. A lot of people like to follow these celebrities. When entertainers, athletes, and influencers normalize profanity, it trickles into the schools. It shapes youth identity. It becomes acceptable adult behavior, and culture follows visibility. And it was very hard being a public school teacher and trying to teach these kids when all this profanity was coming through the social media. We used to have songs played at lunchtime or through the classroom. They would play these rap musics and stuff, and it'd be fuck this nigga this, I'm gonna bang you, I wanna fuck you. The lyrics on these rap songs and gangster rap songs are atrocious. And we even had one principal got fired over it because she was singing the song in the meeting, and then she slipped up and said she likes all her niggas on her staff. And she slipped up and said that to
That's a
go.
potent example of how deeply media influences youth and adults alike. When entertainers push boundaries, it's easy for lines to blur. The responsibility then is on all of us, parents, educators, and, yes, celebrities, to shape a culture where respect is the real trendsetter.
And she's Latina, and she's got a promising career, young principal of the school, and she slipped up because she likes Snoop Dogg, and she slipped up, because she was playing the music in the background and stuff, and then she said, "Yeah, I like all my niggas on my staff." And she slipped up and didn't know that she said that. When she said it, everybody was like, "What?" And there's only a few black people at the school, and they just got offended, start crying and stuff, and she lost her job over there.
It's a harsh reminder that context matters. Even if someone admires a celebrity, repeating charged language can unintentionally cause harm. It's all about thoughtful communication. Professionals especially need to be hyper aware of how words land. Mistakes can be costly, but they're also moments to learn.
So my question is, why isn't the FCC stepping in? An important distinction. FCC's jurisdiction is limited, right? It applies mainly to broadcast TV and radio. Not, as I said before, not cable, not podcasts, not social media or live rallies. Most modern profanity happens outside FCC regulated platforms or on live stream social media or hot mic moments. So legally, it's often protected, but culturally, it's still damaging. Speak about the FCC role, Kevin.
You nailed it. The FCC's hands are tied outside traditional airwaves. But cultural responsibility, that's on us. As a society, we decide what we elevate and what we reject. We don't need fines to demand civility. We just need to raise our collective expectations and reward those who meet them.
Well, I think something should be done. I know that in the military, you curse or whatever or disrespect an officer or somebody of superior rank, you'd lose your rank. You'd be court-martialed. You'd be put under an Article 15, right? Or be summarily court-martialed, right? So you don't be saying that kind of stuff. If you're addressing an officer, you better make sure it starts with sir in Innsbruck. I'm a military officer, so before people talk to me, they would call me sir. And when they finished, they would call me sir, and they would salute too. So the same thing when you're talking to a non-commissioned officer, okay? And everybody had their last name on their uniform. So it'd be Colonel Martin, yes sir, Colonel Martin, no sir, Colonel Martin, right? And it'd be a lot of respect. So I think that public officials should, if they take and use profanity and stuff in society, they should be fined. The pros for that. They reinforce professionalism. It sets a standard for leadership and protects minors and public decorum. But the cons against that, of course, they're going to say you're going against my First Amendment of free speech, right? Go ahead and talk about putting a fine on people that use profanity in public, Kevin.
Fining officials could reinforce accountability, but it's tricky. The First Amendment protects even speech we dislike. Instead, we could use ethics penalties, like public censure or formal reprimands. Ultimately, it's about building a culture where leaders choose respect, not because they're fine, but because it's what we demand.
Okay, so ethnic penalties, formal reprimands, or public censures instead of fines should be the way we do this. Is that right, Kevin?
That's right. It's less about hitting wallets and more about reinforcing standards. Public reprimands like censure shine a spotlight on behavior, reminding leaders that words matter. When culture sets the bar, true leadership follows.
So, what's the real cost to society if we let our public officials just curse and use the S word, N words, and all other kind of words out there? I mean, nations could be incited, and we could start a nuclear war over this. I mean, when leaders curse casually, respect erodes between the countries, dialogue devolves, civility disappears, and children imitate authorities. That last one, children imitating authorities, this thing goes in a perpetual cycle here. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. Eventually, volume replaces substance. Okay, Kevin, talk about the real cost to society.
When leaders normalize profanity, trust erodes. If words lose meaning, diplomacy can fracture. On a global stage, missteps fuel division. At home, kids emulate what they see. The cost? A culture where noise drowns out reason. We protect society by ensuring our leaders speak with care, because words shape futures.
So, what can we do? What
We
can
can set
we
higher
do?
standards in our own circles, encourage civility, hold leaders accountable, teach kids media literacy so they discern what's worthy of respect. Ultimately, we protect society by expecting more and rewarding those who lead with integrity.
Well, I got 10 things that can protect society, and I got 10 things that can set standards. So, where it says, what can we do? Practical solutions. Kevin, start reading from number one.
Number one, reinstate civility codes for public office. A clear expectation of respectful language sets the tone at the top.
All right, keep going. Number two.
Number two, require media delay buffers at official events. This ensures that live broadcasts have a chance to catch and prevent profanity before it airs.
That they used to have that, like when they're doing live broadcasting or whatever, they would have like a 30-second to a minute delay. So if somebody cursed or said something derogatory or had a wardrobe malfunction or whatever, they can take and bleep that out, right? But it seems like they don't even care about that anymore. Read number three.
Number three, expand ethics review boards for conduct. These boards can provide oversight and ensure consequences when public figures cross the line.
Yeah, because sometimes these public figures, they probably were never taught this before. So we need to have an ethic class and have them go through some, rehearsals and stuff so they don't slip up and feel comfortable cursing out in the public. Read number 4.
Number 4, promote role model accountability, not cancel culture. It's about guiding them to correct mistakes rather than erasing them, so growth is possible.
That's right. Show them films. Show them how certain people speak in society and how a good model and a bad model impacts public forum. Read number 5.
Number 5, teach media literacy in schools. Equip students to critically analyze what they hear, so they don't just imitate, but understand.
That's right. A lot of kids, they don't do any thinking. They don't do any critical thinking. They just imitate what they see. And so if they hear rap music or whatever, they just go ahead and sing the words and stuff. And a lot of the times they don't even know what they're saying. Right? So yes, critical thinking and teaching media literacy is very important. Read number 6.
Number 6, encourage advertisers to support clean discourse platforms. Money talks, so backing respectful platforms shifts the incentive.
So I know some social medias are enforcing, they have their rules and their guidelines. But then the rules and guidelines are so long, a lot of people don't even look at it. Sometimes even myself as a creator on YouTube, I make mistakes and then they'll catch it and they'll tell me, hey, uh, you need to clean this up or you're going to have a strike against you. And if you got 3 strikes on YouTube, they take your whole channel off. Even if you got millions and millions of subscribers, you're off the air. So you got to be real careful. So having those rules and stuff is great. Go ahead with read number 7.
Number 7, parents model respectful disagreement at home. Kids learn from what they see daily. So respectful conversations start at the dinner table.
Well, that's good. That's if the parent don't act like the child. So we got some some parents that act worse than the child, cursing and swearing and whatever. So parents, you need to grow up and realize you're the adult in the family and your kids are looking at you. When I sit in the classroom as a teacher and I see these kids acting out and cursing and doing all kind of, rickety roll stuff in my classroom, I am looking at their parents. So when I see a kid, I can see almost exactly how the parent acts at the house, right? So if kids coming in all gangstered out, chains and stuff, cursing and stuff, when I see mom or dad, when they come into the classroom, they got chains hanging all out, wearing sunglasses and cursing and stuff, yeah, yeah, check it out, and disrespectful, I can know exactly where that kid gets it from. So I don't blame the kid, I blame the parent. So parents, you need to model respectful disagreement at home. And I don't mean beating the kid, beating somebody up, cursing them out, or doing something mean to them. Okay, read number 8.
Number 8, faith and community leaders speak publicly about standards. When trusted figures emphasize respectful discourse, it reinforces shared values across communities.
That's good. And so a lot of people in church, clergymen, priests, pastors, and stuff, when they're in the church, they should be speaking to the parish and reinforcing this throughout the community. Read number 9.
Number 9, voters reward substance over shock. At the ballot box, choose leaders who elevate discourse, because we get the leadership we endorse.
That's true. A lot of people take the easy way out. So they don't want to do any work or anything. So they're lazy. And so they just use shock value because it gets a immediate response instead of going through the work, doing research, and putting out some substantial information. So don't rely on shock all the time. You just wear people out and it just degrades everything. Am I right, Kevin?
You're absolutely right. Shock might grab attention, but substance earns lasting respect. When we invest in thoughtful, reasoned voices, we build a society that thrives on meaningful discourse.
Okay, read number 10.
Number 10, normalize correction without shaming. If someone slips, guide them back to respectful language. No need to cancel, just correct and improve.
If we get into the end of the show, America doesn't lack passion. America lacks discipline and expression. True power isn't in profanity, it's in precision, it's in restraint, and it's in respect. Kevin, talk about that.
Absolutely, Billy Boy. Real leadership isn't about volume, it's about value. When words are chosen with care, they carry weight. America thrives when its leaders show that true strength is speaking with purpose, precision, restraint, and respect.
That's right. Leadership should elevate the room and not drag it down. All right, Kevin, how'd you like today's show?
I loved it, Billy Boy. Tackling big topics with clarity, that's what it's all about. Elevating conversations, that's leadership in action. Ready for the next one whenever you are.
Enjoying your energy. You make me really feel good today. And go ahead and remind my audience about subscribing, pushing that like button, putting some comments down, and figuring and filling out that survey at the end of the show. Go ahead and do that.
All right, folks, if you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and fill out the survey at the end. Your feedback keeps the conversation rolling.
So I want to thank you for being here on another edition of What's Up? What's Up? What's Up? And thanks, Kevin Samuels, for being here today. And we'll see you on another edition of What's Up?
It's been an absolute pleasure, Billy Boy. Thanks for having me. Until next time, keep leading with wisdom and energy.
What's up?